Single dad finds crying woman at gas station. Next morning, she buys him a mansion. The night was unusually quiet for a Friday in the small town of Brookfield. Luke Thompson, a single dad in his late 30s, was making his usual late-night stop at the gas station. He had just finished his second shift at the auto shop and was running on sheer exhaustion. His 7-year-old daughter, Emma, was asleep in the back seat, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny. As Luke pulled up to the pump, something unusual caught his eye. A woman sitting on the curb near the gas station's neon sign, her face buried in her hands, shoulders shaking with soft, helpless sobs. Instinctively, Luke parked and walked over. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked gently. She looked up, startled, and quickly wiped her tears. She was in her early 30s, wearing a silk blouse and jeans, but there was an undeniable weariness about her, a heaviness that told him this wasn't just a bad day. I don't know what to do," she whispered. Luke hesitated for a moment. He wasn't rich, couldn't even afford a decent night out for himself, but something in her despair tugged at him. "Want a coffee?" "My treat," he said. She nodded silently, and they went inside. Over steaming cups of cheap gas station coffee, she told him her story. Her name was Claire, and she had just walked out on a high-powered corporate job in New York. The stress had become unbearable, and she had driven aimlessly for hours, trying to clear her mind. Now she felt completely lost. Luke didn't have any life-changing advice, but he listened. Truly listened. He shared a bit about Emma, about how sometimes the little victories, like Emma finally tying her own shoes, felt like the biggest accomplishments. Luke watched her drive off, feeling a strange mix of concern and hope. He didn't think much would come of their brief encounter. It was late, he was tired, and life had a way of moving on without miracles. The next morning, as Luke tried to catch up on sleep while Emma built a tower of Legos in the living room, there was a knock at the door. Expecting a delivery or maybe a neighbor, he opened it to find Claire standing there, holding a small envelope and wearing a bright, genuine smile. "I couldn't stop thinking about last night," she said. "I know this is sudden, but I want to do something for you." Luke frowned, confused. I don't understand." "You barely know me." Claire handed him the envelope. Inside was the paperwork for a house, a sprawling, sunlit mansion on the outskirts of town, fully paid for. Luke blinked, speechless. "I wanted to start fresh," Claire explained. "After everything. I realized that kindness matters. You were kind without asking for anything in return. You helped me when you didn't have to. I want you and Emma to have this." Luke felt a lump in his throat. He looked at Emma, who was now peeking curiously from behind his leg, and then back at Claire. I don't know what to say. "This is too much." Claire shook her head. "No, this is exactly right. Sometimes the universe works in mysterious ways. You showed me humanity when I needed it most. That's worth more than any corporate title or paycheck ever could." Over the next few weeks, Luke and Emma moved into the mansion. But it wasn't the luxury or the space that mattered. It was the reminder that simple acts of compassion could ripple far beyond what anyone imagined. Claire became a friend, often visiting to share coffee and laughter. One evening, Luke tucked Emma into bed and whispered, "See? Good things come to those who do good, even when they think it doesn't matter." Emma smiled sleepily, clutching her bunny. "Like the lady last night?" Luke nodded. "Exactly like that." And as he turned off the light, he realized something profound. Kindness doesn't just change the world for others, it changes your world too. From that night on, Luke lived in a home filled with warmth, laughter, and the quiet certainty that small gestures could lead to extraordinary outcomes. And somewhere, Claire smiled, knowing that her life and his had been transformed by one simple act of humanity. Luke stood frozen for a moment, the envelope heavy in his hands. He looked at Claire, searching for a catch, but there was none. Just her warm, genuine smile and eyes full of gratitude. Emma, peeking from behind his leg, tilted her head in curiosity. I don't know what to say," Luke finally stammered. "This is way too much." Claire shook her head gently. "No, Luke, it's exactly the right thing. You didn't know me, and yet you treated me with kindness without expecting anything in return. That matters. It changes lives. And I want you and Emma to have a fresh start. Luke's mind raced. He'd struggled for years, working long hours at the auto shop, trying to give Emma even the smallest comforts. He'd never imagined a life like this, not in his wildest dreams. But as he looked at Claire, at the envelope in his hand, he felt a warmth he hadn't known in years. Over the next few days, Claire helped Luke and Emma move into the mansion. Luke wandered through the sunlit halls, still half in disbelief, while Emma ran ahead, her laughter echoing off the walls as she explored each room with her bunny in hand. Claire watched them, smiling quietly, a sense of fulfillment settling in her chest. It wasn't just a house. It was a home filled with possibilities. Rooms waiting to be filled with memories, a kitchen ready for shared meals, a backyard ready for laughter and play. Luke paused in the master bedroom, leaning against the doorway, and whispered, "I can't believe this is real." Emma tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, can we have pancakes in the big kitchen tomorrow?" Luke chuckled, ruffling her hair. "Absolutely, pumpkin." Later that evening, as they all sat in the living room, Claire poured herself a cup of coffee and watched Luke tuck Emma into bed. Luke turned back, eyes soft, and said, "You know, it's funny. I always thought helping someone meant giving what little I had, but I didn't realize it could change both our lives." Claire smiled. "That's the magic of kindness. It doesn't cost much, but its ripple is infinite." Luke nodded, feeling a quiet pride and hope for the future. He realized something profound. Even small acts of humanity can spark extraordinary change. And sometimes, just being there for someone in their moment of need can bring miracles you never imagined. From that night on, their lives shifted. Emma played freely in the mansion's garden. Luke focused on building a more fulfilling life for his little family. And Claire stayed in touch, often joining them for coffee or a shared meal. The mansion was more than walls and furniture. It was a symbol of trust, compassion, and the belief that simple human kindness could reshape destinies. Luke leaned back in his chair, looking out at the horizon through the large windows, and whispered to himself, "Life is stranger and kinder than I ever imagined." And for the first time in a long time, Luke felt truly, deeply hopeful.